A very good Thursday afternoon to you, and I hope I find you very well on what is here a fairly standard day as far as British summer weather is concerned, certainly here in Manchester. It has no idea what it wants to do. Rain, sunshine, awful grey clouds and blue sky the other side of the house. Hey-ho. Now, I know the title to this was perhaps a little bit of a mystery, but it's a very, very true thing that I'm actually going to say here. This video is going to be short, I think, but I also think, certainly from my point of view, it needs to be said. So I will take ownership of what I'm going to say right here, right now, and let me say at this point, I do not care if this results in me losing subscribers, because the ones that are left when any subscribers have left will hopefully see where I'm coming from. So anyone who knows my videos, who's been here for a while, generally knows during my video content I don't swear. I'm not like many other channels out there who use foul language or whatever just for comedic effect, or whether it be that's just because the way they speak. But today I'm going to make an exception, and this is why. There is a section of this so-called wristwatch community, for me, that can go and get fucked. Because in response to my last video, which was a response in itself to Andy Hunter's video about replica watches, followed by Matt Stevens, sorry. I had quite a lot of response regarding that. Now, I'm going to refer to 3 different people. I'm not going to use their names. Only one that I'm going to refer to was actually to do with that video I referred to, but the other 2 are things that have happened relatively recently, which I will refer to, but I'm not going to use their names because these people will know who I'm talking about. So let's get to the crux of the matter, which has brought me to this point where I'm making this video. We are all aware, hopefully we're all aware, that there is a section of this so-called watch community who are the dyed-in-the-wool watch snobs who believe that if the starting point of your collection isn't a Rolex Submariner, then really you shouldn't really be allowed to breathe the same air as they breathe. And the majority of us have the sense to understand that those people are complete and utter numpties who are not living in the real world, as most wristwatch collectors will never ever be able to afford a subby, never mind any of the Holy Grail or whatever. So they're talking complete bullshit straight away. And I hope that majority of you guys find that kind of in-community snobbery very, very distasteful and unacceptable. But there was a certain respondent to my last video who was vocalizing very loudly his views on why people shouldn't buy or own replica watches, along with many others, but he was by far the most verbose about it. Firstly, the many people who contacted me who were not bothered either way about whether people spent their hard-earned cash on replicas, thank you. That seems to be the common sense approach that I would expect from my subscribers, because hopefully you follow me, because my views on life or my views on this hobby reflect your own. But there were a number out there who fall into the category of a watch snob who, obviously, if they're not going to accept anybody below, let's say, an Omega Seamaster as owning anything worthy, they're certainly not going to accept anyone who has a replica piece. But then we get on to kind of the accelerated level of people who now want to have the right to tell people what they should spend their money on. It isn't the choice of the person spending their money. They should listen to the people who tell them what they should spend their money on. And if that is the kind of downward spiral we're moving towards within this so-called community, then I don't want any part of it, because that's not what I'm here for. My point has always been, during the longevity of this channel, that everybody should buy whatever they want, no matter of price, no matter of brand. If that particular watch speaks to you in whatever way, then you go out and buy it, because it is your hard-earned, hard-saved money that you're spending. But that apparently is not good enough for a certain range of people in this community. Now, this particular person will recognise himself by what I'm going to say later. He was telling me that there was no way that I could actually compare counterfeit booze and tobacco products with counterfeit watches. There was no way at all. There was actually no level playing field on which they could be compared in any way, shape or form, following many years in his life experience. And that maybe, just maybe, I should educate myself. Now, he seemed to ignore the fact that I do not own replica watches. I do not promote replica watches. I do not belong to any forums that deal with replica watches, and I do not support the selling, buying, repairing, whatever it is, of replica watches. But it isn't my place to tell anyone that they should not buy replica watches if that is what they want to do. Further down the conversation, I basically said to him, "Oh, now I recognise what you're doing here, and there is a name for that, and that name is fascism." Now, under my definition of fascism, which I think is correct, that if anybody or any group of people or political party start telling other people what they can't do with their lives, that is a fascist state. This person took it upon himself to say to me that actually I was using hyperbole. Well, hyperbole is basically a nonsensical statement not backed up by fact. That is what it is. Whereas me using the word fascism to demonstrate what this particular person was doing was absolutely correct. So if this is the kind of deplorable state that this so-called community is denigrating towards, then actually I'm not interested anymore. I will do my thing when I want, as I always have, and I will still maintain the beliefs I have, which is anyone can buy anything they like without any incumbents from anybody else. But this particular section now, this fascist, dictatorial, totalitarian group that feel it's all right to tell people what they can and can't do with their own money, is even worse, in my view, than the Dennis Van Pattens of this world, who basically say if it isn't Rolex, it isn't worth your time and effort. So, for me, this community, as I keep laughingly recalling to, is a community is somewhere which is very supportive and helpful and empowering. This isn't that anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, those kind of people are not welcome in my life. They're not welcome to my channel. anybody who comes on my channel as far as replying to a video who seems to hold those views will be blocked and muted, because that is not the supporting nature that I would want for this great hobby of ours. And it is nothing to do with anyone, whether it's me, you, or anybody else, to tell somebody what they can do with their own time, with their own money, and with their own passion for whatever direction they take regarding this particular hobby that we want to buy, these things that we wear on our wrists on a day-to-day basis. So that's the main thing regarding that response side of that video. So that group of people, get fucked. Get out of my life. I don't need you here. The other two subjects of this video, one is a person who has been a key member of this community for a long time, based here in the UK, who he and I have had many hours of contact over the couple of years I've been on YouTube, and because he misinterpreted the wording of a tweet that I made, started throwing around what can only be described as playground insults. That person has now been blocked from Twitter because he needs to grow up, and if he wanted clarification of what that tweet meant, maybe he should have asked, perhaps, or spent a little bit more time reading it and comparing it to other tweets and other videos I'd made on that particular subject that tweet referred to. The final one is somebody who, as far as I was aware, because he'd used the phrase with me on a number of occasions over the last few months, had said that we were friends, and all of a sudden there is no contact anymore. We have no response on YouTube, no response to text messages and so on and so forth that I sent. And I can only assume that he has found some form of disagreement with something I have said in one of my videos. Now, that being the case, even if you have the bestest of friends who you have been friends with for 20 years, 25 years, my oldest friend, I've been a friend with him for 37 years, and even now, after all those years, I find myself thinking, oh Christ, what a twat you are. But even things about him that I find annoying, because it's him, I put to one side, because we as people have to take the good and the bad in everyone, and hopefully the good outweighs the bad. Now, this particular person was somebody who contacted me initially and forged this relationship, and it is not something I've ever pushed. It's something that I was quite happy to go along with, and actually quite complimented by the way that this friendship started. That has now ended without a by your leave. Now, if this person is not big enough or willing to contact me and say, look, you know, I may not agree with everything you say, but I fully support your right to say it, then he's very much like me in that I may well not agree with anything anybody has to say, but they have the absolute right to say it in what is deemed to be a free society. And if this person is still watching my videos, you will know who you are, because I've texted you recently and there's been no response. I don't really know what's going on for you. If you find that I'm such a violent, repulsive person now that you didn't think I was, then you're entitled to your opinion. But my views have never changed. There was content out there via Twitter, and here on YouTube about how I view things. That doesn't change me as the sort of person I am. A good phrase that I always try to live by, as you're well aware, or the new guys may not be, the older guys will be. I do not have a faith, but I do live by an edict, which is you do not have to be a Christian to live a Christian lifestyle. And part of that is cutting other people slack or giving them the right to their opinions. And if you're not able to do that, then you're going to find yourself short of friends over an extended period of time, because people will only show of themselves what they trust you to know about them. So, apologies for the language, but I have a great distaste for the watch snob, and I now have a greater distaste for the twats that feel that they can dictate what we as watch collectors can spend our money on. And if they find replica watches that distasteful, that they may well be right in their assumption that they do fund criminal activity, that is not the responsibility of either them or me. I don't know why he was having a particular go at me, because I don't know whether he thinks I have some God-given power to bring all this criminal replica watch manufacturing to some form of end. I don't. No. I may be good, but I'm not quite that good. So this group of people can get fucked and get out of my life. So I'm sorry about this one, folks. It isn't a very nice video to make, but I'm afraid home truths need to be told, and it is up to us as a community to get rid of the people who want to dictate what we should buy, and those now who it appears what people have the right to spend their money on, and that is just wrong. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.